Okay, hi everyone and welcome. This is our October edition of the Inclusion and Wellbeing Forum. And today we have the wonderful Neelam Bhatti, who is joining us to lead on provision for Emirati students from Al Salam Community School. And we are recording, so please be mindful. We will share the recordings on our YouTube channel once we have finished. Please, any questions are welcome. I'll monitor the chat, but keep it focused on students. We don't talk about individuals, about practices, about practitioners. And while industry experts are welcome, it's a free forum, so we don't endorse any specific products or services. So without further ado, Neelam, if you want to take off.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for your invite this afternoon. I'm Neelam Bhatti, and I'll be talking about the provision for Emirati students, which I have the pleasure of leading on at the school that I'm at. I'm at Al Salam Community School. A little bit about myself. I've been an inclusion lead since 2013, designated safeguarding lead, and I'm also a secondary teacher. I've been a head of primary for 5 years now in the UAE, and lots of experience with SPEAR and KHDA inspection. I'm currently doing my MPQH, and this year, like I said, I have the pleasure of working on school improvement, strategic lead for national agenda priority, inclusion and G&T. So I felt it appropriate really to share with you some ideas that has been the sort of launch of my role at Al Salam. And when we speak at the end, you may ask questions, but also please do give your ideas on how you're working with your school improvement in terms of national agenda. For those who might be new to the UAE, just a little bit of a summary here about the national agenda and what it is. So it's about the education being a prime focus. The inspection focuses on the achievement of Emirati students, and schools should adapt curricula to raise aspiration of students. The inspection looks at governance and leadership, learning and intervention, and personalisation. Therefore, this sort of remit fit nicely in my role at Al Salam, which is why the national agenda priority is falling under the inclusion department. Some of our school improvement priorities and where the priorities link in. So it links in with our SP1, raising attainment and progress to at least good in all subjects for our Emirati students, and SP2, keeping our students or our school as happy and thriving for our students and parents. Now, this year I work alongside our Vice Principal of Academics, whole school, and the Learning and Teaching Lead to ensure that these agenda priorities are driven. So objectives of the priority and my role at the school is to develop a consistent approach in taking all subjects across the school to a good attainment for Emirati students to at least good. And it's to identify successful strategies and how we will do this, and I'll speak about that today, and to highlight steps to ensure that our Emirati students are making that progress. So again, my role, it fits in nicely to the inclusion role at the school, and it's looking at important strategy. It's working with parents to develop relationships and build upon student voice and leaderships of our Emirati students, working with leaders around the school, so our middle leaders, and teachers to know their students. They need to know who their cohorts are. We've been looking at some deep dives and thematic observation analysis. So we've just completed a maths department deep dive, and we're moving on into other subjects in the coming weeks and looking at the themes. So one of my remit was to look at challenge Emirati students and special needs students in the deep dive. So that was my focus going into our maths lessons whole school. It's working with the executive leadership team to analyse progress, adjust provision and meeting changing needs, and most importantly, to quality assure. So we're putting all of these strategies in place, but how do we quality assure and monitor the progress? So the UAE National Agenda priorities I've just spoken to you about here, but in the blue here, I just wanted to highlight that our goal is to improve students' achievement across the school and striving to reach above expectation in our next inspection. And as you may already have done so as well, we've developed an Emirati strategic action plan, and I'll talk you through that as well. So we want everybody to have a responsibility at the school at looking at our Emirati student provision. And it's about accelerating progress for students, raising attainment, knowing the CAP4 data, looking at parental engagement, collaboration with teachers, being student-focused dialogue and offering that additional provision, providing an evidence of achievement, so having the students be given a learning journey and we track that progress over time, and giving them a personal learning plan. We've devised a tracker at the school, which I'll talk you through as well. So how are we going to do it? Improving curriculum in key subject areas by taking into account the gaps, looking at cognitive skills and identifying benchmarking assessments and how we can improve there. Teaching strategies, looking at professional development of our teachers and how we can imply and embed those into our practices. Curriculum personalisation, so all our students are reaching that potential and having the opportunities to be stretched and challenged. And we've also looked at year group-wise strategy documents. So for our middle leaders, we've provided the action plan, our school improvement plan, the Emirati action plan, and they take out bits that really are homing in for their departments, and they also look at that as a department as well. So the Emirati action plan at our school is looking at 4 key priorities, and this has been picked up from our school improvement plan and our recent inspection in 2023. So improving literacy levels for Emirati students, engagement with parents, improving attainment and progress across the school, and to promote Emirati student motivation and aspiration. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about engagement with parents and promoting Emirati student motivation as well as attainment and progress. So it's a strategic action plan, and what we've done so far this year, it's really sort of taken off at the start of this academic year. I've looked at and compared enrolment and disenrolment trends of Emirati students, looking at what emerging patterns there are, why parents are choosing or students are choosing to come to this school or even leave the school. Some of those things being curriculum, maybe it's hard being in the British curriculum as well. So that's really important to look at. I then looked at each year group from FS to year 13 to see the number of students enrolled in each group from our Emirati cohort. And then I looked at a wider level percentage as well as a school-wide. I presented to our middle leadership team in August in our PD weeks to get them on board, to get their understanding of our Emirati cohort and how we can make these changes. I presented at our senior leadership team meeting about 3 weeks ago to also get them on board and to speak about what quality assurance processes we'll have and the timelines of what we will be doing. So we've devised a tracker. We are quite fortunate at our school. We do have a data team, and the data team is currently looking at our external data and then getting that populated into this tracker. We have phase-wide PD sessions, and we've looked at specific focus groups as well with middle leaders, and we've spoken to them about how this tracker will work. I've also met pastoral leaders to look at the past data. When I looked at the Emirati cohort and their past data responses, so a questionnaire about themselves, they scored low in some themes as well. Now, the Emirati tracker tracks attendance, progress test scores, ABT and RBT, NGRT scores, attainment levels at our 3 data checkpoints that we have in the school, end of year targets, teacher targets, and then parents are in the process now of coming in the next couple of weeks, looking at their child's tracker, and we want the parents to sign the tracker. It's a collaborative process. Parents do need to be involved in that and get that sort of buy-in and support from them. The next slide here just is little snippets of the tracker. So we devised just a 1-page tracker for our students. The top part of the tracker has the student details on. It then shows the CAP4 results, and then the pupils' attitude to self and school about their past data. And then at the bottom here, you can see our end of term data as well. We also have the other data points and checkpoints recorded on here. When we spoke to teachers a few weeks ago about how we want this tracker to work, we have chosen core subjects, so maths, English, science, Arabic and Islamic teachers, to also have specific targets for their Emirati students as well. And we do that because we triangulate the data. So at the bottom of the tracker, which I've not shown here, it's currently in process, the teachers are putting in specific targets for their students to personalise that tracker. So what we've done so far, we've inputted the data into the tracker, and we're starting to highlight the students that require academic support sessions in the core subjects where the progress is below 75%. We've looked at gap analysis and intervention programs, and teachers are having that thorough, in-depth PD sessions about CAP4, how to analyse the data and how to work with that data as well. Regular data analysis, as I've mentioned, we started our deep dives into specific subjects, and we're doing learning walks across the school as well. And regular reporting to parents. So our first reporting point will just be after our midterm break in October. Parents will come in, sign the tracker, and then be ready to work with their children at home and in school in collaboration. So responsibilities, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, everybody is responsible to lead and be accountable for their students in their class. The leaders to ensure the tracker is checked and monitored regularly, parents routinely involved in child's learning, all teachers know who their Emirati students are, pastoral team and academic team, there has to be a direct link between both. Because if your self-regard and motivation levels are low, there's a correlation between academic achievement as well. Learning and teaching provision, quality assured, and we look at themes throughout there, and governance input is really important as well. So going back to the past data, we identified 3 specific themes where our Emirati students were scoring themselves low on, and that's feelings about school, learner self-regard, response to curriculum. So next week, we're starting our focus group sessions with our students, and they'll be scheduled in to look at these 3 themes. And in November, the past questionnaire will be repeated, and then we'll compare data from last year to the current year. At our school as well, we have Emirati student ambassadors, and these ambassadors lead on different initiatives, projects, events, community links, and support other students and teachers across the school as well. We found this to be successful last year, and this will continue in this year's remit as well at the school. The next few slides, we've got a few things in pink here, and the things in orange already we're working on. But as a whole school, we're looking at these as our initiatives. So parent-teacher review meetings, our Emirati students to have an ALP, so a support plan that will take off in term 1 after the track is completed. We want to celebrate success of our students, involve them in more leadership roles at the school. Parent representatives, we find that we don't have any parent representatives in our student council who are of our Emirati cohort, so we want to improve on that. And adaptive learning resources for students, we've started to embed this in our professional development and making learning packs for our students, as well as these deep dives that will really take us into a focused lens, if you like, in terms of learning and teaching as well. Our counselling team, so this is where I've got the counselling team and pastoral team on board, will be looking at the self-regard and the past data and working on the focus groups with our students. Effective intervention, that's already started. So after school sessions have started to take off from last week, where our students who have been identified are joining on to academic support sessions. Peer mentors, so each student will have a teacher or an advocate or a leader of the school who will be part of their sort of peer mentoring and coaching and development for them throughout the school. Our alumni to come back, so we've invited our previous students to come back and give speeches or talks to our students as well. All Emirati students, like I said, to be provided with a mentor. Parent and student surveys, we've started that as well. And again, in amber here, celebrate Emirati culture, news and success stories. So one of the things we've featured in the last week or so is Sultan Al Nadi, the astronaut, coming back home to the UAE. And next week, this week is Space and Earth Week. So it's a lot, sort of are all revolved around Emirati news at the moment. So it's a big feature of our learning environment at school. So next steps, having put all these things into place, what do we do next? So academic leaders, they need to be sort of involved and have the school improvement plan or the Emirati tracker into their development plans as well, or department plans. We've given phase level training. We need to look at adaptive teaching and learning strategies embedded in lessons. So we do that through our drop-ins and observations that are taking place. Cross-department collaboration. We're supporting teachers across the school. We're adapting teaching and learning methods, and the main focus being challenge and progress and attainment. And most importantly is tracking and monitoring progress, which is done half-termly and termly at our school. Okay, and that's it from my side. Some questions, and I'd be happy for anybody to share ideas as well on how you're working with this important priority at your school as well.
Thank you, Neelam. Gosh, that was a really whistle-stop overview of what looks like a lot of work that you've put into organising this. It's all about showcasing the work you've done, isn't it? At the time when your inception, really helping them to understand the amount of work and effort that's gone into it. I'd like to ask, when you are showcasing that, how do you showcase the triangulation from all of this work that you're doing to the impact that we should be seeing in the mainstream?
So the triangulation at the moment, we're looking at external data. The students have done Cat 4s recently. So like I said, we're quite privileged. We do have a data team looking at that. They're sharing that information. They're populating that information as well. At the moment, we've started our observations. So we're going into classes and we've got leadership team looking at specific school improvement priorities. We're looking at observations and learning walks as well, giving that instant feedback as well. We're also asking students as well in the classrooms to see, how are you taking your learning? What sorts of things would you like to see? So we're getting that student voice and that input as well. Parents, we're just starting that process off. I don't know if anybody else wants to give any ideas here. We're finding it quite difficult to sort of get parents coming into school, but certainly the triangulation of data, internal and external, looking at books, looking at learning walks and observation data, and then student voice as well.
Brilliant. I love that you're getting the students involved and getting them, because we often forget. Well, I don't think that we forget, but we get so caught up in showcasing everything else.
We do.
Some of the best initiatives are the ones that are student-led, really, aren't they?
Definitely. And the student, going back to the ambassadors of the school, so the UAE ambassadors, they are working on different projects. They act as mentors as well, and also they provide support for our younger students. So we're getting those students on board as well to lead on these initiatives in school.
Okay, any questions, guys? We've got 34 people. Surely we've got some questions.
Or any ideas that you'd like to share? Any other practices that are, can be shared? Please feel free to come off mic.
Yeah, if somebody has something that you're doing that's working really well in your school, please feel free to share. That's what we're all here for. Okay, it seems like you've covered everything, Neelam. Thank you so much. Everybody, we have a summit coming up on the 25th of October in Abu Dhabi. We have another one coming up in November, but the first one is 25th of October in Abu Dhabi. It's free for everyone to attend. We will have ADEC. We're sponsored by Mubadala and Kinteract, and it's being held at BSAC, British School of Al Khabairat. They've very kindly offered us their campus, and we hope to connect literally hundreds of practitioners to share practice, to hear about upcoming changes in policies, and to get insights from both the regulators at ADEC and also from on the ground in schools. So please, I've popped the registration form in the chat. Please do register. Spaces are limited, so get in there early. I think this is the first time I'm sharing it for our group, so you'll be one of the first. Manal, you've got a question.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Manal.
Hi, Manal.
I have joined a little bit late. My apologies. But I would like to share one of the most method of communication where the parents are satisfied with in my school, where we have created on Teams a group chat group Teams chat group with the student, the LSA, the main teacher, and the parents are updated on daily basis. What are the new things the student is taking? How did the student perform? And pictures, including pictures and videos. So this is something that all my parents have given a good feedback about it. Another thing I would like to ask, one of the points that needs to be improved in my school is the identification system. And when we have a limited budget that we cannot afford now something very expensive. So I would like to ask if anyone knows something that's not expensive, screening tests for the identification of students. We have already purchased the the scale for identifying gifted and talented students, but we are researching.
So, Manal, are you using the CAT4 in your
Somebody
school?
can share the and with me, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Manal, are you using the CAT4 in your school?
Yeah. I'm using the CAT4, but not all the students have taken the CAT4. So this year we are planning to do it by next month for all students.
The CAT4 can be a really good place to start. It's a really good indicator to shave off those bottom stay-nines of 1 or 2, and that can give you kind of your first screening tool of where to look for further observation. Equally for G&T, it can be a really good indicator of G&T when you've got your 8s and 9s.
Okay, so that would indicate the learning style, the batteries of the students. The very low, it means that there is a problem, right?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. You've got to remember that there are always anomalies, like maybe a bad test day, maybe poor administration, maybe language. So keeping those in mind, but generally it's a really good indicator in the CAT4 is where you see big differences between different batteries. So if you've got a child who's performing at a 6 or a 7 on all batteries except spatial, then maybe there's a deficit there. That would be an indicator of perhaps a learning barrier or a special educational need.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the feedback. I really appreciate it.
No problem. You're welcome. Any other questions, team? Everybody? I think we're good. Well, thank you so much, Neelam.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Insightful, very insightful. We will post the video recording on our YouTube channel over the next few days once I get it edited. And next month, if anybody would like to support or to present next month, please pop me an email, let me know. And we are always looking for really good quality presenters. Okay, guys, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you,
Catherine. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Miss Neelam. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Miss.